National Weather Service believes a good chunk of southern and eastern Nebraska could receive above normal precipitation during the month of October. The one-month outlook released last week also shows the entire state could be warmer than usual. That would fit with the recent pattern. The summer of 2016 was the fifth warmest on record, with every state in the country experiencing above average temperatures. We talked earlier this year about how the end of El Nino could transition into the beginning of La Nina. But forecasters with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration said this month the chances for La Nina conditions developing through early winter are about 40%. On Tuesday, we talked with DTN's Bryce Anderson about that possibility, but we started by asking for an update on moisture across Nebraska.
Well, the conditions for moisture going into the fall are really pretty decent across the state because we've had some fairly abundant rains, obviously, over the last 3 weeks or so. The biggest improvement has been kind of in south central Nebraska, because there was an area south of the Platte and then toward the Kansas line that had been in severe drought conditions. And over the last couple weeks, that section of the state improved. And so we are really looking, I think, pretty favorably. And then when you go into the fall like we are, with mild temperatures, we still have some rain that's going to show up. The water year, when it gets going in October, is going to have a pretty decent start for soil moisture recharge.
What do you think the outlook is for weather conditions during harvest here in Nebraska?
I don't think that we're going to have as favorable a harvest as we would like to see, especially from about Grand Island east. There's an area of the western and the northwestern Corn Belt where forecast models have an average of 3 to 4 inches precipitation during the month of October, and that is an average, so that means, of course, we could get more than that. So I think that we are going to be seeing some occurrences where we have some delays because of wet fields, and we're also going to have, I think, some issues with just getting the grain dry into that 15–16% moisture level for corn. So I think that we're both going to have to maybe wait it out as far as getting fields firmed up, as well as having to run the dryer more than we'd like to get the moisture down for proper storage.
What do you think the outlook is for the rest of the Corn Belt?
Well, it's kind of a wide variability type thing, because you get just east of the Missouri River, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin. They're likely to be even wetter than we are going to be in central and eastern Nebraska. And there's going to be some issues there. I know that in Minnesota already they've got some problems with wet fields. Now, when you get from the Mississippi River east and then southeast toward the Ohio River, conditions really look pretty favorable. Maybe no more than a couple inches precip during the month of October. They were, of course, quite dry in Indiana and especially in Ohio, so they're already looking at a drier scenario to go into the heart of the harvest season. So that eastern Corn Belt is going to get along better when it comes to progress.
Let's spend some time talking about El Nino and La Nina. Tell me about the closeout of El Nino and what it means for the future here of weather.
With El Nino having run its course last spring and first part of the summer, we went through the growing season with basically near neutral conditions in the Pacific, still with some echoes of a very strong El Nino. And overall, we have to say that the growing season was favorable, even though we had some hot periods. I mean, we're looking at very good crops overall. This fall, as the Pacific transitions into a cooler water pattern, La Nina in effect, I think that we're going to be seeing variability as we go through the fall season. Then in the winter, I'm looking for above normal winter precipitation over northern Nebraska, and then near to below normal elsewhere in the state, with some near to below normal temperatures. But it doesn't look like La Nina is going to be a real long-lasting feature, and probably could run its course by next spring, giving us pretty much near normal conditions for next growing season, and that's favorable for us.
With weather conditions that you mentioned over our winter, what will that put out for South American growing conditions?
I am cautious about how South America is going to get along, especially through the end of the year. We know in Brazil that they're trying to overcome a very stressful drought in Mato Grosso and then Northeast that happened earlier this year in April and May. So they're going to be dealing with that. And then farther south in southern Brazil and Argentina, there is a very strong relationship between La Niña and below average precipitation. And it's those two sections of South America that are going to be key in terms of whether they have a La Niña impact or not. But if it sets in, there could be some real stress in Argentina and then through southern Brazil.